Ladies and gentlemen, you've made it. Welcome to the final video in the War or We Are Ready series of preparing you for part 2 of the ISTEP10 Math test. Again, we're focused on part 2 because we've been focused on part 1 for the entire time you've been taking this test. It's time to try to pick up some points elsewhere. So, this is a multiple choice question. It says a curling iron increases from 60 degrees to 240 degrees in 12 minutes. Which equation represents this situation? This is a relatively easy question because it's based on the 2 points given in the problem. You might be thinking 2 points, but there's only 3 numbers. Well, that's because it gave us an initial value at time 0. The curling iron is 60 degrees, and after 12 minutes, it is 240 degrees. So what you should start off doing is the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, where x1 and y1 are the first point, x2 and y2 are the second point. That would be 240 minus 60 over 12 minus 0. Which is 180 divided by 12, giving us a slope of 15. Now, as soon as we know that the slope is 15, we can travel over to our potential equations, and we should notice only 2 of them have a slope of 15. The other 2 would immediately get our answer eliminator tool. We would eliminate them both. Then it's just a matter of realizing that this is the y-intercept, which means our b value is 60. That means the correct answer for this is letter A, because that's the one that has a b value of 60. Second problem on this final worksheet is a rather involved exponent rule problem. What we have to do first is deal with the numerator alone, so we're going to ignore the denominator. This is equivalent to 6 squared, which is 36, a to the 2 times 2, b to the 3 times 2, or 36, a to the 4th, b to the 6th, and then we would still have that over 12, a to the 5th, b squared. We would then divide 36 by 12 to get 3. A to the 4th over a to the 5th means we have an a to the 1st in the denominator, and b to the 6th over b squared would be b to the 6 minus 2, or 4th power. So you should have 3 b to the 4th over a to the 1st. The last problem on the front side of that worksheet says which equation shows the quadratic function correctly factored. Now this is one of those factoring problems that requires you to actually use factoring by grouping. So what you do is you figure out what the value of a times c is. That would be negative 48. And you need to find numbers that multiply to negative 48 and add to 13. So your options are not, there's actually quite a few of them. But as you go through, add them up until you find positive 13. So it could be negative 2 and 24, except that would be 22, which means similarly 2 and negative 24 won't work because that would add to negative 22. Could be 3 and 16? Hey, there it is. That's the one we want. So negative 3 and positive 16. However, all that tells us is what our middle term breaks into. What I mean by that is we bring the first term and the last term down, and then we split the middle term up. After we do that, we group the first 2 and group the second 2, and we factor out the greatest common factor. So the first set of parentheses, I can factor out a 3x, which would leave me with 2x minus 1, because I divide. Second set of parentheses, I can take out an 8, which leaves me with a 2x minus 1. It is not a coincidence that these are the same. That's kind of the point, because this is now a binomial where 2x minus 1 is the greatest common factor. So I factor out 2x minus 1, and I'm left with 3x plus 8. meaning my two factors are 2x minus 1 and 3x plus 8. That is A. Almost there. 2 problems to go. Number 4 says, which of the following ordered pairs is a solution for the inequality graph below? We had one of these earlier in the packet, so earlier video. In order to be the solution, it has to be in the shaded region. So the point 2, 1 is on the dotted line. So 2, 1 is not a solution. If it were a solid line, it would be a solution, but a dotted line means that that is not a solution. 0, 3 is clearly not a solution. 3, negative 1 is very clearly a solution. So that is our answer, but just for giggles. 1, 1 is clearly not a solution. It is not in the shaded region. So we should answer with C, 3, negative 1. And the final question of the packet. Sarah is selling bracelets and earrings to make money for summer vacation. The bracelets cost $2 each and the earrings cost $3 each. She needs to make at least $500 and will need to sell more than 50 bracelets. Write a system of linear inequalities to determine the number of bracelets and earrings she will need to sell to make at least $500. So right here they're telling us that we need to use the word number when we define our variables. So we're going to let X represent the number of bracelets sold, and we're going to let Y represent the number of earrings sold. When we do that, we have 2 pieces of information in the problem that will lead to linear inequalities. We are told that the bracelets cost $2, the earrings cost $3, and that she needs to make at least $500. That is one of our 2 equations. So we would say, okay, the bracelets are $2 each, so 2x plus the earrings are $3 each, so she'll get $3 for the earrings. And she needs to make at least, that's the symbol for at least, is a greater than equal to, $500. The other equation comes from the statement that she will need to sell more than 50 bracelets. In that case, we would say the number of bracelets plus the number, the number of bracelets alone, so X, has to be more than 50. So we would say is greater than, because that's what we say when we say more than, 50. And that would be our system of linear inequalities. 2x plus 3y is greater than or equal to 500, and x must be greater than 50. That does it for the final video of the series. I hope you have found these useful.